Our heading for today is seedless non-vascular plants. So go ahead and write that down, seedless non-vascular plants. So just by looking at that topic, don't have seeds and no tubes, vessels, or veins to carry things. Examples, I would write these down. Mosses, hornworts, liverworts. Those are your examples. I'm going to use moss a lot as an example because that's the one you probably are familiar with. So these are all examples of seedless, non-vascular plants. Characteristics. Take a minute, write down characteristics and those 5 things there. You need to pause, go ahead. I'm going to go on here. Seedless non-vascular plants like a moss does not have true roots, stems, or leaves. If you think about it, it doesn't have roots or real roots because it doesn't have to soak up water. It doesn't have tubes. Okay, it doesn't have stems. Usually stems are on taller plants. It's not very tall, and stems are usually tubes. Doesn't have what we consider real leaves as well. Instead of roots, it has rhizoids, which is a root-like filament that holds mosses in place. It's kind of, I think of it as Velcro. If you've seen moss on like the side of a building or the side of a tree, these little rhizoids, these root-like things, are going to grip to the side of the building or tree really firmly. Pretty small, 2 to 5 centimeters tall, and they're going to grow on trees, rocks, damp ground, and between bricks and cracks. So wherever it's wet and shaded from the sun, you're probably going to find moss. Once again, if I'm going too fast, just pause. Go ahead and write this down. Seedless non-vascular plants are going to reproduce using spores instead of seeds. Now, what a spore is instead of having seeds, it's going to release this little balloon-like thing with its genetic material. Okay, it's the same genetic material as the plant, so it would be the baby would be a clone, the offspring would be a clone of the parent. But it's going to leave those spores, and they're going to land somewhere, and if they land in the right spot where it's wet and there's nutrients, then it will begin to grow. Mold is actually a fungus, but it reproduces by spores. We've all probably pulled something out of the refrigerator and had mold on it, and you wonder, how did that get there? Okay, well, there are mold spores floating around the room right now. Okay, they're going to land on places. They're super small. Okay, difficult to see with the bare eye, and they're going to land on things and grow. If they land in the right spot, they're going to grow. If they don't, then they won't. Some of you maybe have allergies to spores, and there's certain times of the year. Usually the fall is bad for allergies because those spores are floating around. If you have mold in your basement, if you get water in your basement, you're going to have mold inside your walls. Well, when they were constructing your walls, some mold spores got back there, okay, and they just sat back there. And once you get water in your basement, then it's going to cause them to grow. And if you've ever seen like black mold from someone's walls, it's kind of gross. Okay, so instead of seeds, they're going to use spores. Go ahead and write all of this down. The importance of mosses and liverworts. The first thing is they are pioneer species. What that means is that they're the first to grow in a new area. Okay, so if you're the pioneer in something, okay, you're one of the first to do it. Well, if there's something like a fire or a flood that wrecks and kills everything, mosses and liverworts are going to be the first to grow, because all that needs to happen is some spores land and we get a little rain and they begin to grow. They're also going to break down rock and produce soil. So if I have moss growing on the side of a rock or even a tree, okay, those little rhizoids, those little root-like filaments are going to break it apart. So those are some benefits of seedless non-vascular plants. There we go.